So I want to talk about the perfect house flip for absolute beginners. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with Tactile Solutions. I have Nick Palladino here, and I actually want to talk about the flip that we're in right now. I want Nick to talk about the numbers and why this is absolutely not only insane margins, but if anything, really the ideal flip that any absolute beginner flipper should be looking for.
Yeah, so this property we picked up January 10th. It is now mid-February, and we locked this house up from our wholesalers for $107,000. We ended up closing cash to close at $108,500, which by far is the lowest price project we have ever taken on by a long shot. And I think that's why it's such an entry-level flip in a sense, because it wasn't a complete teardown, no fire damage, no structure damage. It was just a lower priced house with a lot of margin in it. So we got this from wholesalers. Like I said, they actually locked it up for $102,000, and they ended up making $5,000 for simply just assigning the contract to us. No money up front for them, no risk for them at all, no renovations for them. They just passed it on to us. We did the work, and we partnered up well with them. So we ended up putting in $10,500 on this property. Keep in mind, it's a 560 square foot 2-room condo in Surprise, Arizona. So $10,500 stretched us a long way. And we ended up listing it $160,000 and accepting an offer at $165,000. So we're all in $120,000 and we're selling it for $165,000 with just about $7,000 in closing costs, which puts our potential profit margin here at just over $35,000.
So the reason that I think that this project is absolutely insane is, think about that, cash on cash return. One of the things that a lot of beginner flippers always ask us is, what's the criteria for a flip? We always try to aim for a 10% cash on cash return, meaning that if I invest $100,000, I at least want to be able to walk away with a net, after all expenses and all fees, $10,000 profit that Nick and myself get to take home. If you do some quick math, being able to walk away with $35,000, you can imagine that our margin is over 30% net after all expenses and fees as well. So why is this the most ideal flip for an absolute beginner? And how could you have actually taken advantage of this opportunity? I want to break it all down for you. And again, if you learned something new, make sure you smash that like button. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the price point. The same thing that we experienced the first time that we ever flipped a project. We live in Gilbert, Arizona. Back then, we were taking on flipping houses as a hobby. Gilbert, Arizona, the median, I would say, price for a house was around $400,000, maybe $350 to $450. With that being said, that's kind of a steep price for a house flip. Maybe if you live in California or in New York, you're like, that's cakework. But for us in Arizona, that's still a lot of money. I was paying for these properties out of pocket. So we're like, okay, a property was presented to us in Peoria. This was around the $200,000 price point. Much more attractive, right? The same thing with this specific property. It's much lower than the median price point maybe in your specific area, which is why, again, yeah, it's about 50 minutes away from where we live, but you have to understand, you need to start somewhere. And if you can kind of manage and mitigate your risk with a lower price point, then it's something that you will then have to do just to put yourself in a better position. The second thing that I want to talk about, and Nick brought it up, is this was a kind of like lipstick type of remodel. There was no fire damage, nothing crazy. We didn't have to remove walls. We literally paint, some updates when it comes down to, again, making it a little bit more modern. $10,000, think about that. $10,500 is what went into this project. If you are an absolute beginner, it's most likely understood that you don't have a bunch of contractors under your belt. If you even wanted to do the work yourself, this would be something that would actually be much more manageable, right? So again, the renovation and the work that you take on by this flip, again, being a very minute and what it's called a lipstick approach with the type of remodel, I feel like is ideal for a beginner. Making sure that you don't put too much of a heavy workload on yourself, especially if you kind of lack the experience. And the last thing that I want to talk about is, you might be saying, well, yeah, $100,000 is pretty cheap, but we paid for it cash, right? I understand that not everyone has $110,000 cash. Very well understood. But take Nick and myself as an example. What if we didn't have the $110,000? We still understood what this property could be worth, and we still understood what we were getting it for. The margins were there. The renovation, taking that into consideration, was around $10,000 to $15,000 is what we expected. We understood that. We knew the margin was there. So instead of us funding it, something that you guys should be aware of is a hard money loan. And this is where an institution can lend you at a higher interest rate, meaning that you don't have to put up the entire $110,000. So the example that I can give you is, let's work with perfect numbers, $100,000. This institution will most likely ask you to put 2 points down, which is 20%. So that's $20,000. Yes, that's still some money, but that's $10,000 each, meaning that we're only out $10,000 each. We now purchase this property, and now when it comes down to the remodel, we each put about $5,250, and then we take home each about $17,500. Think about that. Investing a total of about $15,000 and walking away with a total of $17,500 each for a total of $35,000 profit. Something you do have to take into consideration is these hard money loans do ask for not only the 20% down payment, but again, monthly interest payments. But if you do some quick math at that 10%, $1,000 payment is not too bad, right? Or that would actually be $800 if they only lend out $80,000. It's not unreasonable or unmanageable. It's something that can be actually done, right? You don't always have to have the cash on hand. Obviously, it's great to have partners that you can come and make cash offers with, but I don't ever want you to think that when it comes down to flipping properties that you need the money. Even if you don't want to go with a hard money lender. Let's say that on your first flip, you want to work with people that are experienced, right? And you want to shadow them. How can you get started? I don't know if you guys know this, but about 50% of the house flips that we are currently doing are sourced through people that follow us on YouTube and on Instagram. And we pay for everything out of pocket. You might be asking, well, how do I get paid or how do I make money? As long as the numbers make sense for both parties, we've paid up to 10% of our net profits. So if we make $100,000 net, you walk away with $10,000 profit. Think about that. All you did was you sourced a deal, you sent us the seller's phone number, and we locked it up. You get to shadow us, you get to learn, and everything that you learn from there, you can take on to your next project. We would love the opportunity to work with you. So again, if you've ever wanted to get into flipping real estate, wanted to become an agent, we're always looking to connect with like-minded individuals. And again, my Instagram and Nick's Instagram is going to be down below. I encourage you. We respond to all direct messages within 24 hours. Send Nick a direct message right now. So we really do appreciate you guys' time. Is there anything else that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I mean, today alone, we were able to pass off one of our investments to an investor who followed us, and now he has a great Airbnb in Scottsdale, Arizona. The project that we are standing in right now was actually presented to us from wholesalers who found us on social media. We are writing an offer right now, this very moment, through another agent who was sent to us via email from social media. And then we're also locked up a contract today for a condo in Scottsdale from someone that reached out to us about last night actually, and we locked up a contract with him. He's working with us on this project, 10% rev split, for simply putting us in touch with the listing agent on this property. So just today alone, 4 different examples of how you guys can work with us or vice versa. So we're definitely trying to expand that way. And there's so many different avenues we can all take and work together on and just kind of dominate the real estate market, I would say.
Definitely. And again, one of our biggest takeaways is we don't care if you're an active real estate agent. We don't care if you're an up and coming or new real estate agent. We literally want to work with everyone. So even if you just want to connect, if you're in the mortgage industry, if you're a lender, if you're an agent, if you're looking to buy your first property, just send us a message, let's connect, and we love the opportunity to work with you on a closer basis. Again, all our information for our Instagram and social medias are down in the description. We appreciate you guys' time. I hope this inspired you to get started. If it did, please consider dropping a thumbs up and of course subscribing. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.